The Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution, also known as the Chinese Cultural Revolution, was a politicide lasting from 1966 to 1976 under the leadership of Mao Zedong, the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party. The Cultural Revolution was an ideological campaign driven by Mao's struggle for power following the Great Leap Forward. Mao feared the development of a bureaucratic class among the CCP and the potential for a capitalist restoration, and therefore adopted Marxist ideals, emphasizing especially the concept of class struggle. In order to execute his Cultural Revolution, Mao utilized the support of the army and students, who collectively formed the Red Guards. The revolution was broken into 3 phases. The mass phase was initiated by the creation of the 16-point decision in August 1966. This outlined the guidelines of the Cultural Revolution and took the revolution to the masses. The Red Guards took control of cities, factories, and universities, damaged religious buildings, shut down the education system, and humiliated the clergy. They conducted criticism sessions and paraded intellectuals through city streets wearing dunce hats. Intellectuals were also sent to rural villages and forced into strenuous labor. In September of 1966, Mao published the sayings of Chairman Mao Zedong, more commonly known as the Little Red Book, which re-emphasized Mao's beliefs. In December of 1968, Mao launched the Down to the Countryside movement, an attempt to re-educate high school graduates by moving them to rural areas to perform field labor. The students affected by the movement are known as the Lost Generation, as they missed the opportunity to attend university, halting their education. Many political leaders, such as President Liu Shaoqi and Deng Xiaoping, were removed from office during this period. It was also during the mass phase when the Cultural Revolution encountered its first wave of resistance. The Wuhan incident in 1967 was a 3-week civil war in which the people of Wuhan outwardly resisted the Red Guards. The Wuhan incident would be the first of several civil wars that would take place throughout China in the months following.
Between 1969 and 1971, the Cultural Revolution entered the military phase, at which point the People's Liberation Army began to suppress the Red Guards. In April 1969, the Ninth Party Congress was held, appointing Lin Biao as the vice chairman of the CCP and stressing the importance of unity within the party. The radicalism of the Cultural Revolution was reduced, and China began to engage in more international affairs. In fact, in October of 1971, China was admitted to the United Nations. The Lin Biao affair also took place in 1971, when Lin Biao and his primary followers began to plan Mao's assassination. However, their plot was revealed and they were forced to flee, only to be killed in an air crash. The Cultural Revolution entered the final phase, the succession phase, between 1972 and 1976. Following the death of Lin Biao, Premier Zhao and Lei pushed China towards stability. In 1973, Premier Zhao and Mao brought Deng Xiaoping to power, since both leaders' healths were deteriorating. This led to power struggle with Jiang Qing, Mao's wife, as she wanted China to take a more radical path. Deng was purged in January of 1976, followed by Mao's death that September. The Cultural Revolution came to an end on October 11, 1976, with the arrest of the Gang of Four, which Jiang Qing was a member.
Although the actual number of deaths during the Cultural Revolution is unknown, it is estimated that roughly 2 million people were killed as a result of Mao's purgings. While at the time the Cultural Revolution did have a strong following, China now views this time in history as a dark period defined by many unnecessary deaths and stunted development. The Cultural Revolution also caused a severe difference between the educational level of China and the rest of the world. Furthermore, the Cultural Revolution sent the nation into economic decline due to the strict communist economy. When analyzing the Cultural Revolution, it is important to understand that this event was not a genocide, seeing as it was not committed to the destruction of a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group as defined by the United Nations in 1948. Instead, many consider the Cultural Revolution to be a politicide, driven by Mao's power struggle and attempts to eradicate any opposition.